Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Lenovo Thinkpad X360 computer. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you how to get inside, and many of the various components you can access once you're in. So first thing, power down your computer the correct way, make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip the computer over to access our bottom case screws. You have these 5 screws on the bottom case. After you remove those screws, you're going to take a small, flat, preferably plastic pry tool. I say plastic because it'll scratch your case far less than a metal one will. And you're going to go around the seam of your bottom case and pry it off from the rest of your computer. Go nice and slow, be careful but firm. Don't put the pry tool too far in, you could damage some internal components. Just go on the edge, and if you get stuck going in one direction, leave it, start in the other corner, and go around in the other direction. After you get your bottom case off, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general repair side note, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything when you're working on the computer. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your project, as well as any replacement or upgrade parts for this specific model computer, there'll be a link above. Also below in the description, that will be a list of all the tools and supplies that I use in my shop, as well as, again, all the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model, the ThinkPad X390. Also, before touching anything in a computer, I always remove or at least unplug my battery first. A computer is safest to work on when as little power as possible is running through it. Your battery is right down here. It's held down by 4 screws, and it plugs into the motherboard right here near the green arrow. Now, this goes for any wire or cable in a computer. Try to avoid pulling on it as much as possible. Sometimes they can get damaged. Sometimes you can even pull them right out of the plug. So if possible, just grab the plug and pull that straight down toward the battery to get it out of that port. This battery is a 48 watt-hour battery, 11.46 volts. The model number, if you're looking for your own replacement, is L18M6PD1. I will have all that information below in the description for you. And if you would like help finding a replacement, I will have a replacement battery option in that link I told you about with all the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer. And I guess the last thing to mention about this kind of an operation, if you're here because your computer's not turning on, it could be a bad battery. You may have to replace it. But keep in mind that most laptops, even with a bad battery, should still turn on and function well with the charger plugged in. So if your computer is not turning on at all, there may be a different reason other than just a bad battery. If you would like help troubleshooting why your laptop is not turning on, there will be a video tutorial link above, also below in the description, and that will show you the troubleshooting process for finding out why your laptop's not turning on and how to fix it. Right here, you see a solid state drive. You have a single M.2 PCIe solid state drive. This takes Gen 4 solid state drives. Many of you will have a 512 gigabyte drive stock when you buy the computer. So below in the description, in that link I told you about with all the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer, I will include a 500 gigabyte stick as a replacement. But if you're looking to upgrade, I'll also include a terabyte option and a 2 terabyte option. The way you operate this is a single screw right here towards the bottom. You undo that screw, and then you can gently pull the solid state drive out of this port right there. There's a thermal pad underneath it, so make sure that that stays down. That helps keeping your drive cool if it's working hard. So make sure that lays down flat under the replacement when you install it. And then you would just tighten that screw there, not too tight, you don't want to break it, but tight enough so it doesn't come loose. Your RAM, as you notice, there is no removable RAM here. Most of you will have 16 gigabyte DDR4 RAM. 2400 megahertz, but that will be soldered onto the motherboard. That's not going to be replaceable or upgradable. I will also include all of the RAM and solid state drive information below in the description if you're looking for your own replacement. And I guess the last thing to mention about this operation, if you are installing a new drive into your computer, you most likely will have to install an operating system to it in order to use your computer. Below in the description, I will have two video tutorial links. One will show you how to install Windows 10 onto a Lenovo computer. The other will show you how to install Windows 11. Your Wi-Fi card is right up here. To access it, you would remove this black cover right there. Just peel that off and you're left with your Wi-Fi card here. So that just screws in by this single screw up top, and then it will pull out of this port. Then you'll be left with your orange and blue antenna wire. Those are just snaps. Those pull directly up and off of the Wi-Fi card. To get them back on, though, they do need to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap those back onto the card, and you are strong enough to damage it if it's not at the right angle and you try to force it. So just be patient, go slow. It's probably going to be a little bit of a pain if you're not used to it, but you will be able to get those back on. I will have all the Wi-Fi card information below in the description if you're looking for your own replacement, but I will also have a Wi-Fi card replacement option in the link I told you about with all the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer. And I guess the last thing to shout out about this kind of operation, if you are having Wi-Fi issues in your computer, if you can't see any networks, or if you can't even access your Wi-Fi options, you could have a bad Wi-Fi card and you may need to replace it, but you also could have a different issue. I will have a video tutorial link above, also below in the description. It'll show you how to troubleshoot your computer if you cannot access your Wi-Fi options. Maybe you can fix it that way before having to come in here and do an invasive repair like this. So now that the battery has been removed, as you can see, this now shows us the CMOS battery here. It's stuck down to the computer here with double-sided tape. So if you're replacing this battery, all you have to do is pop that up. It's pretty easy to get that off. And then it plugs into the motherboard. It goes down here, up, and plugs into the motherboard right there. This plug has two grips on it, so you can use your fingernails or a pry tool to wiggle that out of that port right there. I will try to have a CMOS battery replacement option for you below in that link I told you about with the replacement parts and upgrade parts for this model computer. If you're here to reset BIOS, then you don't necessarily need to take that battery up. You can leave it down. All you'd have to do is unplug it from the motherboard for about 15 to 20 seconds, and that should be sufficient to reset your BIOS system settings. Now, it is important to note in this process, in most cases, that will only reset your BIOS system settings and not your BIOS password. If you would like more information on resetting the BIOS password, please check below in the description. And I guess the last thing to mention about this kind of operation, trying to reset BIOS this way is a very common troubleshooting step if your computer is not turning on. If you would like the full troubleshooting process to find out why your laptop's not turning on and how to fix it, I will have a link above, also below in the description. That will be a video tutorial showing you how to troubleshoot a laptop not turning on. You have this speaker here toward the left of my screen, this speaker toward the right. They're connected to each other by this wire that runs down here. As you can see, it's threaded just so through these areas to connect the left and the right speaker. Word of caution, if you are replacing speakers, make sure these wires are run exactly as seen in your computer. So either pause this video or take a picture or do something so you run it exactly as it's supposed to be. If you don't, when you put the bottom case back on, you see how close the wire is to the edge of the computer and even to these screw holes. You could pinch that wire and damage it. And the speaker on the right-hand side of my screen is the only one that actually plugs into the motherboard right here. And as mentioned before, do not pull on the wires. Speaker wires are extra fragile. Just use fingernails or a pry tool to wiggle that plug out of that port. And I guess the last thing I can mention about a speaker replacement, if you are having audio quality issues in your computer, if they sound blown, you may need to replace your speakers. But if it's a different kind of audio quality issue, if it's not consistent across software, if it's not on or if it's too low, it may be a driver or system issue. I will have a video link above. Also below in the description, it'll be a tutorial showing you how to make sure all your drivers and your system is updated so you can rule that out, possibly fix your issue. before coming in here and doing an invasive repair like this. This is your fan and your heatsink up here toward the top left of my screen. As you can see, the fan plugs into the motherboard right here. Now, these fan wires are extremely fragile. They oftentimes do come out of the fan or the plug. So definitely just use your fingernails or a pry tool to get that plug out if you're replacing this fan. The heatsink runs from the vent and the fan here, and then goes over your CPU here. These 4 screws hold it down. Please keep in mind, I don't know why you're here, if you're replacing a bad fan, if you're here because your computer's overheating and you're trying to clean out this assembly, but for whatever reason, if you remove this heatsink on any computer and you expose the thermal paste to air, you do need to reapply the thermal paste. Once it's been exposed to air, it's not going to work properly. Below in the description and the link I told you about with all of the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer, I will try to have a replacement fan, but I will also try to have a couple different options for thermal paste. With thermal paste, you definitely get what you pay for. The cheaper stuff will work, but the more expensive stuff does do a better job at getting heat out of your computer. So again, I will have a cheaper option there if money's a big factor, but if not, I recommend getting higher quality thermal paste. Also, if you would like help in applying the thermal paste, you definitely want to clean all the old stuff off of both the heatsink and the CPU. You don't want to put new thermal paste on top of old paste. And in addition to that, you don't want to put too much down. If you put too much thermal paste down, it actually locks heat in rather than facilitate its transport out. So I will have a video tutorial link above. Also below in the description, it'll be a video tutorial showing you how to fix an overheating computer. It'll show you how to clean out your fan and how to clean off and reapply the right amount of thermal paste. As far as some other miscellaneous components here, this right here is your LCD cable that comes in from this hinge assembly. The Wi-Fi antenna wire comes through this hinge assembly, and the touchscreen wire comes down through this hinge assembly and plugs in right here. So that's how you would access that. If you're looking to get your LCD assembly off, you would then need to unscrew each hinge assembly, and then your LCD assembly can come off. That's usually how computer shops recommend replacing an LCD. It's easier, it's faster, less chance of breaking anything to replace the entire LCD assembly instead of the LCD itself. However, it's usually more expensive as well buying the entire assembly. If you're trying to open up the assembly and replace just the LCD, I will have a video link tutorial down below in the description. It'll be a general video showing you how to replace an LCD. If you need help with your specific model, leave me a comment and I'll try to help you out. Another thing to be aware of is ribbon cables like this here, this one over here, these two here, any sort of ribbon cables like this, they're very fragile and you have to be careful when operating them. These little black clips are easy to break, and if you break those off, you may not be able to find a replacement, which means the ribbon cable may not ever secure down well again. So the way to operate these is these black clips open and shut almost like a book cover. It opens from the bottom side here, and the hinge is on the top. So the way to operate these is you would take a small, very, very flat pry tool, and you would slide it up underneath from the bottom very carefully, and then gently pop that up, again, like a book cover, to release the ribbon cable. So be very careful when operating those black clips. After removing everything, if you're here to get at your motherboard, you would find these screws. You see this screw here with the little white triangle or arrow? Computer companies are usually fairly good at putting those near all the screws. You'll see them up again here. So you would go around, find all the screws left in the motherboard noted by those arrows or those triangles, and then you would be able to get your motherboard up. So I hope that was helpful. That's a pretty full teardown disassembly video on the ThinkPad X390. Thanks again so much for watching. Please remember to like and share if this helped you out, if you think it can help someone else out. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoy DIY computer content like this, or if you just want to keep me on hand to answer any of your future computer questions. I do try to answer all questions throughout my channel at least a couple times a day. Also, feel free to check out the related link section below in the description. From time to time, I do try to add things in there that I think will help you with your general computer life, make it more productive, more enjoyable. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.